Untamed is going to be untamed. It's going to be a little crazy. I want to talk to my people. I want to talk to my brothers and sisters. We can have grace and humility in how we interact with other people.
Oh, hot dog, look at you.
And nobody talked about what's really happening.
And let's have conversations about what truth is.
Hey, so happy Monday. It's really good to see you guys today. Man, we're going to have fun talking about some things. And I got a little bit of a diatribe. We'll be joined by Joseph Teti, who, by the way, is going to talk to us about Black Ops. So before I get into all the other stuff I'm going to talk about, I want to tell you a little bit about our guest. Now, I haven't met him yet. Normally, I get on the phone and have a conversation beforehand, but Tommy knows him well. And he's a warrior. So he was an operator. He's a speaker and trainer. He said he was a Force Recon Marine and a SF guy, Special Forces guy in the Green Beret, 18 Bravo. He was an operative with the CIA Special Activities Division. I don't know why I keep having people on from the CIA, but I'm sure that he's, actually I know he's one of the good guys. He's one that Boz was talking about before, who was on, and frankly has done some pretty crazy stuff. He worked with the operations group as one of the most selective covert units in the world. He's deployed to major operations, including Iraq and Afghanistan, and has done numerous missions across the Middle East and Africa. He is an author, so he co-starred on the Discovery Channel's hit series, Dual Survivor. And he's the author of Lone Operator. I keep having to add books to my books that I have to read, but frankly, this will be the next one on my list. We also, by the way, have Father Mahana in the studio. I had lunch with him, and I go, "Hey, do you want to come over to the studio?" He goes, "Yeah." And then I was like, "Do you want to get mic'd up?" He goes, "Yeah." So I think they mic'd him up, but we'll bring him on in a minute. While we were at lunch today. And then we'll bring Joseph in right afterwards. We're going to talk about this Title 50 thing, which is like admitting that you're basically going to war. Pretty crazy in the Black Ops world. But before I do that, before I bring Joe on, and before we have this, I think. By the way, is Tommy joining us too? Okay, and Tommy's joining us too. So we're going to have a full house today. But we were at lunch today, we were talking about the pendulum swing. And, you know, the pendulum kind of swings politically. It'll swing to the left, swing to the right, swing to the left, swing to the right. And the dangers of the pendulum swing is that it typically comes back with much more force. And we saw that force kind of happen where we got, you know, we're like the pendulum part, we're the part of the pendulum that is restrained. You know, we're the party of law and order. So they actually use our own guilt against us. They use our own guilt against us in order to get us to comply with some of the evil that they put in our communities. You cut a kid's penis off, yeah, you're just not going to do that to my kid. What should happen is we just tie them to a bumper in the front of the car, drive them around a snowstorm until they die. That's what should happen when you groom a child. It should be a really simple judge, jury, executioner if you do things to harm people in the community. And you don't have to agree with me when I say that, but you have to admit that evil has been allowed to just thrive. 39 times we had the guy that stabbed that young lady to death. He was arrested. 25 times it was a felony. Got back out on the street and was able to commit murder. And I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't get life in prison. If it wasn't hey, we'll let him out again in 10 years. Because the system is literally rotted completely to the core. So as this pendulum starts to swing, we look at what's happening with this No Kings rally. It's hard to ignore. It's hard to ignore the reality of what we're facing, and we've seen it happen over and over and over again. If we get to 2026 and we still have machines and mail-in ballots, we're cooked. We're finished. And I'm going to tell you what happened in 2017. We saw it happen in the 2018 election. You walked in, we had the House, the Senate, we had the presidency. President Trump was highly effective. They developed the same campaigns you're seeing going on today. Matter of fact, 2017, much of the video footage you saw of the No Kings rally was actually from 2017. They ran around creating disruption. The Republican Party was just as much a part and complicit in slowing President Trump down from handing power back over to the people as the Democrats were. 2018, they used fraudulent machines and mail-in ballots to win the House and the Senate and to impeach President Trump twice. They're going to do the same thing. It's the same playbook. They're actually talking about that playbook right now. And they're using things like polls that say that President Trump is, only 41% actually believe that President Trump is doing a good job. He's ridding ourselves of crime and the commitments to crime and telling them, listen, we're going to get rid of DEI, we're going to get rid of all of this perversion that we have in our community. And President Trump got on and said, hey, it's all but dead, all the DEI stuff. And that has a lot to do with the fact that people in his own group are Judases and Brutuses. These are people that literally keep telling him, Mr. President, you did it, you got rid of DEI. Well, let me just tell you what's really happening on the ground. He didn't get rid of anything. They're having active conversations, and I know because I'll talk to some people that work in these environments, and they'll say, Joe, they're all being told the same thing. Don't worry, 2026, it'll all go away, we'll be back to normal. Which means they have every intention of finishing the job of what they did the first term of an impeachment. Now keep in mind, we could have impeached Biden in 2021. We didn't. We just don't seem to have courage among leadership. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that leadership on both sides of the aisle is selected, not elected. That's why you got this knock on your head and rub on your belly environment in politics. That's why they want to have ranked choice voting and some of the other craziness that we have inside of our political schema. Because they need to have the ability to make sure that those people like Thomas Massey and others are quieted. We attack our own. As Father Mahana said today, we eat our own. And he talks about that at length. So with that, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna put up a couple of things here for the No Kings rally. And now they said 7 million people attended No Kings rally in 3,000 locations. And I'm like, no, they didn't. No, not at all. Let's go ahead and play this cut A. One.
Look at this. Millions of people across the country marching as we speak against the policies of President Trump. This is Boston. Look at that. We'll continue to follow these rallies throughout the day here on MSNBC.
Just so you know, my friend was in Boston at the No Kings rally, and he goes, Joe, that wasn't it. not a ton. There was people out there. You had 10,000 people or so, but that wasn't the rally. That's from 2017. You saw that community notes that's on there as well. And here's, you're not going to believe this, but you had people at this rally, the No Kings rally, protest, whatever you want to call it, and they were dressed up like LICE agents. Go ahead and play it. This is not even real. These are grown men and women acting like children. They wouldn't last 5 minutes. 5 minutes. And the things that they push towards, like, oh, let's go to war, they don't have a stomach for it. They're dressed up like little beetles and frogs. Yeah, and we're supposed to take them seriously? How do you take them seriously? You really can't. So here's on-the-ground reporting from No Kings. Let's go ahead and play it, and then we'll bring our guests in. Play it.
We're out here at the No Kings protest, and we're asking all the important questions.
Such as, if Trump was elected, how exactly is he a king?
Because he is trying to take control of everything. Like, his checks and balances are not working, so he is just trying to completely disregard the Constitution.
I don't know. I feel like a lot of amendments have been kind of overcome, like in a way that they're not supposed to be. Which amendment specifically? The whole, the first one.
Trying to take away our
freedom of protesting.
I would say that it's because even though he was elected, I agree, due process, he got what he got elected fairly, sure, but he's doing things that make him a king, like he's taking away, civil rights.
That's a great question. I don't particularly think he's a king, it's how people are viewing him as.
Actively switching the levers of power in order to subvert elections.
And what does that mean?
Things such as, trouble coming up with words.
These retards. It's not even, it's past retarded. This is like catering to the ridiculous. All right, this is what President Trump had to say about the No Kings protest.
That's over the weekend, the No Kings protest.
I think it's a joke. I looked at the people. They're not representative of this country. And I looked at all the brand new signs paid for, I guess it was paid for by Soros and other radical left lunatics. It looks like it was. We're checking it out. The demonstrations were very small, very ineffective, and the people were whacked out. When you look at those people, those are not representative of the people of our country.
Mr. President, besides San Francisco...
By the way, I'm not a king. I'm not a king. I work my ass off to make our country great. That's all it is. I'm not a king at all.
Just in case you wondered if he was a king, he just said it out. He's like, I'm not a king. But thank you, though. Thank you for noticing. All right, I'm not gonna, well, yeah, let's just play. This is the proper way of dealing with the No Kings protesters. This worked out really well. Play it. I shouldn't be laughing. Father Mahana, forgive me. Forgive me, Father. Oh my gosh. All right, let's not waste any more time. Joseph, welcome to the show. Tommy, you here?
Amen.
Yes, sir.
We'll get Father Mahana here in a minute to admonish all three of us for laughing at the ridiculousness.
No, yeah.
Stuff to watch, man.
Yeah. But to Oltmann, I know Joe Teti. I've known him since 2020. I know him through Dale. Obviously, Dale, Basrick, Prado, they're all in that covert group, Special Activities Division, which it's not. He's being humble, but it's not one of the premier. It is the premier, and you can read all about it throughout Cold War history. And Joe's thing is also a Spartan Americana, which is training people like me that, barely know what they're doing, essentially how to survive when things go hot. And both ways, so what I was saying to you this morning, Oltmann, about Title 50 is it's tertia optia, meaning diplomacy is the first, outright war is the second. The third option is plausible deniability. We didn't do that. And Joe and I were talking last week about something else first, but then about Trump openly admitting that it's cleared for Venezuela, which the clearance is one thing. To openly say is a whole other thing. But because it's the most elite unit on the planet, and we have one with us right now, Teti, I wanted you to kind of explain to me what you were saying in text about just how important this is that it's openly being talked about for Venezuela.
Well, that's like a double-edged sword, actually. When you start to tip your hand, so to speak, on what you're doing, kind of letting the bad guys know you're coming. But the thing is, they don't know where or when. And like you're talking about Title 50, those that are listening, a lot of people aren't familiar with what that means. And all that is a U.S. code that was granted to the Central Intelligence Agency, allowing them to conduct covert action. Covert action meaning the United States does something somewhere, and they want complete plausible deniability. And that is what Ground Branch is really good at doing. Obviously, we have our Tier 1 assets, Delta and SEAL Team 6. they're going to be involved in that, obviously. But what that does too, guys, is it really unties your hands and gives you a lot of autonomy to do what you need to do without worrying about repercussions on the back end, so to speak. So, but yeah, the only thing that I would say about this whole thing is, yeah, we kind of let them know, just like Mexico, hey, we're coming for you, but they don't know who, where, when, and what kind of tactics we're going to be using. So, you know, our guys will get it done. I just worry about losing that element of surprise. That's the only thing that's kind of like, wish they wouldn't have done that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, I got to tell you, I'm all about the military operations. I'm not so much keen on the melding with the CIA.
Mm-hmm.
Just because those guys have caused more problems across the world than I think anyone in the world, right? They're just...
Well, that's a melding that goes back to Eisenhower, basically about, you know, how do you thread the needle with it, as opposed to outright, you know, thermonuclear Armageddon. And I think it's also, not that Teti needs the defense, there is a delineation, and everyone I've had on from the CIA, there's a clear delineation between analysts and guys like Joe, Dale, Baz. The latter half is, that's not the CIA as we know it throughout the Cold War and the troubles that they've caused. These are just, you know, not to kiss his ass, but these are just cream of the crop, you know, grade A operators.
Well, they're
so,
operators.
Yeah. So it's I just want to make it. It's not. I'm not going to throw them all in one bunch.
Man,
and you can't really do that, guys. Obviously, from what Tom said, but I will tell you, from my experience of peeking through the veil, so to speak, and seeing what that organization does as a whole, I will tell you, if you had the chance to meet people that work there, from, you know, doctors to attorneys to CPAs to analysts to the whole shebang, case officers, you're dealing with ultra high performing people. I mean, I didn't meet a single person that I was like, what are you doing here? All the people I met there were like mega high performers, very focused, very intelligent, and very patriotic. Yeah, sure. Has the agency done things in the past that gave it black eyes? Sure. I mean, but you have to understand what that organization is tasked to do. And then especially when it falls under that covert action Title 50 mission, you know, you're not handing out cookies at freaking Walmart, guys. Okay.
No,
like,
listen,
you know, it's dirty business.
I'm no stranger to the CIA, right? At all. I mean, I spent 6.5 years in the Middle East and Africa negotiating in areas that most people wouldn't want to go. And, you know, I didn't have to, I wasn't allowed to battle rattle myself up. I had to walk in there under the guise of what they consider the fifth track of engagement, right? Which is, you know, negotiations and forgiveness. So you have the 4 tracks of engagement, right? I was on the 5th. So, I mean, I would agree with you. They are very smart. I mean, they're some of these CIA guys, but the problem with smart is smart can go one of 2 ways. And there was plenty of sociopaths that I ran across with the CIA on the operations side that weren't out there shooting and killing people, but they were creating a bunch of propaganda that just wasn't true. And I was on the ground. I was there. So I mean, but you know, it's the guys in, you know, the special force guy. Your guys is your obligation is to complete the mission, right? So it's so I don't have any, and I got a lot of friends that are SF guys. A lot of friends, Matter of fact, one of the biggest organizations that I support in the country is the Special Forces Foundation, which I do quite a bit for, including play golf with. So I get to do that as well.
To kind of to switch it from the you know the meta geopolitical, I do explicitly want to talk about what Teti and I were on the phone about last week. And Joe, it's kind of what you opened with, talking about, you know, when evil is allowed to proliferate, what do you do? Joe, could you, in however, you know, shortened version, kind of explain to me exactly what it was with the bomb threat, shooting threat, and then the wake of essentially what you told me on the phone, because there's evil allowed to proliferate, and then you guys have like Joe who are like, hey, here's the resume, here's how I can fix it, and then kind of their response to it. Could you regale that for us, Teti?
And what was the exact question, Tom? You were breaking up a little bit.
What happened when you spoke to me on the phone last week or the week before when there was the bomb threat or the school shooting threat at your stepdaughter's
Gotcha.
elementary school,
Oh,
and
yes,
how you
yes.
went in to ask about it, and then how could it be, patched up?
Yeah. So last week, my girlfriend's daughter, she attends a middle school here. I'm not going to name the name, but anyway, an email came across an app that the school uses, and it basically said there was a threat to the school. The police have investigated it. Nothing to be worried about, I guess, so to speak. And then if you have any questions, come and ask. I'm paraphrasing, of course. I could read the exact text or email if you want. So anyway, I decided to go to the school and talk to somebody and find out exactly what was going on. Well, I went there early in the morning when the students were showing up, and the police officer that was in charge of that school was sitting in his car right out front, like perfect. So I walk up to the police officer, I knock on the window, I said, "Hey, sir, my name's Joe. My girlfriend's daughter goes to school here," and I showed him. I said, "I'm sure you're familiar with this message." I said, "Could you tell me what the threat was?" And he basically was just on his phone, and he looked at me very dismissively and said, "Kid had a bad day." Very obtuse, and just like, I was like, "Had a bad day?" Sir, if a kid has a bad day, why did they make a public statement? That doesn't add up. Long story short, he wouldn't tell me. I didn't want to get in an argument with the police officer, so I left. Well, later that day, Nola texted me and said, "Hey, can you come get me? I just don't feel comfortable being here right now." I was at the gym, drove to the school, but I got there, and instead of grabbing her first, I went into the office, and the lady was standing there. I said, "Ma'am, can I ask you a quick question? What actually went down with this person, this kid?" Didn't even know what to say. I'm like, "Man, you've drank too much coffee this morning or something." I said, "I need to speak to someone right now about what this is about." So she said, "Hold on." So she brings out this guy, and I believe he was called the dean of students. And he said, "Hey, sir, come with me." And he brought me back in his office. And I said, "Look, man," I said, "I want to know what's going on. Like, you said to come ask questions while I'm here." "Well, student privacy issues." I said, "Look, I don't need the name of the student. I just want to know what the threat was." Wouldn't tell me. So anyway, long story short, I've offered to do free vulnerability assessments and threat assessments for the school district and free training, and nothing. No one's ever called me. So long story short, I found out what it was. Kids talk. And I ended up finding out that it was a young man, was in school. I believe he was in the lunchroom. Don't quote me on that. And was arguing with some kids and was pretending, and he was reaching into his backpack and taking out a pistol and saying, "I'm going to shoot you." Found out he did that last year too. And the kid's still in school. That is a credible, no BS, no doubt. That's how it unfolds, active shooter. And I am really unhappy about the whole thing. And, it was just their lackadaisical attitude about the whole thing. It just blew me away. And if that was the threat, how could you just say the kid had a bad day?
And how many of those, a school shooting happens, and how do we let this happen? And you have people cling on to go, it's the guns. And here you do kind of have a middle ground of you go and being like, "Hey, what happened?" And, "Hey, I just so happened, this is my wheelhouse. How can I help?" And they pretty much told you to go pound sand, and you're not.
Dude, here's the icing on the cake, guys. And again, I don't want to throw anybody under the bus. The lady that is in charge of all of the schools in this school district, I think 6,000 students. She is like the safety and something security person for the entire school district. Pretty big one.
Are you in Texas?
No, sir. I'm in North Carolina.
Okay, good.
She was a history teacher. That's her background. I called this woman personally and told her, "I will train your teachers. I will do active shooter training for the police departments there. I will do a vulnerability assessment for free. I will even pay out of my own pocket to hire role players." You know what she told me? Swear to you, "Mr. Teti, All of that is done by competent law enforcement authorities, is what she said. I said, so you're telling me a police officer has done a vulnerability and threat assessment on your schools? That's correct. I said, well, ma'am, I'm not a cop. And I told her my background. I said, but I do know this. They don't learn how to do that in the police academy. And I know they don't teach that in the SWAT course. So what qualifies them to do it? Mr. Teti, that's done. She sounded like a freaking politician. And I knew the conversation was over. But it's very sad with someone with my background to say, I'm going to give you free training. I'm going to give you, it's like a doctor going, I'm going to give you a second opinion. You can take it and put it through the shredder, throw it in a garbage can, or go, it's kind of interesting. Didn't you want to hear it?
And that is how evil is allowed to proliferate.
Sure.
And who are the competent professionals? The same people like what Uvalde? Yeah, those heroes. So that's kind of my point. Is Oltmann, you always bring up about working the problem and directly addressing it, and here you have it to a T lined up. I'll do it for free, and essentially get out of here.
Yep.
So, your thoughts on that, Oltmann? I say using last names because obviously you're both Joe.
Yeah, I mean, look, I can tell you right now, I have zero patience for people that would put my kids in danger. I mean, I already know who I am as a person. So I already know that if somebody does harm to my kids, I'm doing 25 to life. Right. So I have forgiveness after I, unalive you. So when someone like that does something to put all these kids in jeopardy, and they did when my kids were going to school, right? They had this whole thing where they had some craziness that went on. Again, this is 15 years ago, when they were in middle school. And I remember walking up to the dean of students and saying, listen, there's only two ways this is going to go, and neither way is going to be good for you unless you put a stop to this, right? And he literally 5 minutes later put a stop to it. He's like, yeah, Oltmann looks like he's really serious about this. I don't think that I'm going to mess with him. My problem is that they're not taught to think, right? She doesn't care. The consequences don't hit her home. They hit your home. Right. And so the parents, and I say the parents, the people, like as a whole, holistically, we've got to stop capitulating to this evil and saying, look, all right, I'm going to come in and train you anyway. Right? I'll be there Tuesday at 2:00. I'm not telling you that Tuesday at 2:00 anyone would have showed up, but right. I think at some point we've got to start working the problem, not servicing the symptom, and allowing them to just make us beg them for things that our kids should have. If a school shooter is going to show up, those schools should be well armed and trained inside the school and outside the school. And if the police officer is going to show up on that school for an active shooter situation, they shouldn't hide in the bushes like they did in Florida or in Uvalde.
Competent law enforcement authorities.
Yeah. So I mean, it's role playing for them, right? I mean, that's really what it comes down to, is that these aren't people that give a crap about our children, and they certainly don't, look at or care about societal degradation or rot, right? Because they can't see it because they're semi-retarded. I mean, these are semi-retarded people that think that they were educated because they got a social justice merit badge and, got to learn a little bit about math, but they can't even teach that right.
You know, it's crazy, Joe. This lady literally is a textbook example of the Peter principle. Yeah. Where you have moved into a position of incompetency. She might have been a great history teacher and she might have been a great principal, but now you're in charge of security for like 6,000 kids. She's over her head.
She's not hire?
Yeah.
Is she?
I couldn't believe it. I just couldn't believe it.
Joe's like, Joe, is she a DEI hire?
Yeah, right. I don't know. Possibly. I don't know, but it sure sounds like it. I don't want to say she was, but you do the freaking math.
All right, what's her name? What's her name? And I'll tell you if she was.
Oh, dude. Yeah, no. I promised myself I don't want to get anybody in trouble and say what school district this is.
Because I'll look her up while we're on here and I'll shame her right now in the middle of
Dude, I know. I did check her out on LinkedIn and she has a very big background in education.
Oh yeah, of course.
Education.
Yeah, God bless. But like,
I even asked her on the phone. I said, "Ma'am, do you even know the difference between passive and active security?" Didn't even answer me. I mean, that's like 101 security. Like, you don't know the difference between passive and active. But dude, it was so frustrating, especially when I'm not a rich guy, but I feel like I have a civic duty to, pass off what I've learned. And I didn't mind paying to have this done, even if it cost me some bucks. And they still wouldn't do it. Like,
well, because it's family, and of course you would do it, and that's why you
crazy.
That's
crazy.
why you show up, and then you see that, and you wonder how many things in the past how many have this untold story? How many of these shootings do we know? And there's no record of it, so nobody can prove it. But how many of them are some Green Beret or some Ranger or some Marine Force Recon guy? It's like, hey, can I check this out? And they don't do it. And next thing you know, 10 kids dead, and they don't get the limelight, and no one wants it and then at a much higher level, it's because it's pure evil. Well, you can't really dress it up in a whole attack on the Second Amendment if you have some sort of, hey, this could have been prevented. Here are some people trying to prevent it. They're trying to prevent it for free. It doesn't exactly,
Dude, I told this lady,
free.
Yeah, I told this lady, I said, I'm going to end the conversation on this note. I said, if, God forbid, something happens in your jurisdiction, something that we're talking about, and one kid gets hurt, I'm going straight to the press and the media. And I'm going to tell them exactly what I did.
Yeah, the problem is they're captured too. Hey, so I do want to bring in Father Mahana. He's here. He's going to pray for us too by the end of it, by the way. But he has a lot of experience overseas and got to pray over President Trump and the White House. And then got attacked for it, which is crazy. Father Mahana, meet Joseph and meet Tom Carrigan.
Father.
Nice to meet you.
Sir.
Nice to meet you. God bless you, gentlemen.
You too, Father. Thank you, sir.
So you were listening. What did you think about all this?
Well, I listen usually with a historical ear, and I listen with a futuristic ear. And a historical ear, I mean, humanity most likely has been an unwitting participant since the 20th century in a very fundamental change that has been imposed upon us all. There's no question. And I believe this fundamental change is coming aggressively to attack the critical thinking of the human being, the family institution of the relationship, as you can tell from the experience of Joseph, by weaponizing education, creating a division and a lack of trust in the relationship between what is the responsibility of a parent and their child and the envelope of an educational establishment, putting the parents' boards against the school boards, and the school shootings, unfortunately, hundreds of which have been recorded in the history of the United States, how it becomes weaponized and getting out of hand, instead of addressing the bullying that I believe Joseph wanted to allude to. Most likely those children who are threatening to do those things, of course they have a personal history, of course there is bullying involved in their life, and they cannot not be treated. Instead, the propaganda uses them for weapon control, let's say, for the first to attack the First Amendment, to attack the Second Amendment, to attack. I think this unwitted fundamental change to which the humanity has been subject is experienced first in the United States. I'm an immigrant, of course. I'm American for years and years now.
You sound like you're from Chicago.
But I can tell you that United States so far, for 250 years, as a people, we did succeed overcoming every experiment they put us under. Except that this time, and why we succeeded up until 1962, up until 1970, I would say. After 1970, something fundamentally happened in the US, where in the political world, in our foreign policy, in our engagement, the way we relate to other nations, to other religions, the way other religions have come to United States to become members of the US. You can talk in the US, there's a classical immigration up until 1920s, before the Great Depression. But then after that, there are new waves of immigration that come with some sort of a different dogma, some sort of a different religion. I think all of that affect the educational system in the US, to tell you, towards integration, towards the security of the students, the security, the relationship between the parents and their children. The other thing, without talking too long, I want to say, I do have a fear that in the relationship with what's happening regarding Latin America and the Hispanic communities and Venezuela per se, that probably there is a deep crisis that has been around since John Kennedy, most likely.
Yeah.
That we do not know its ramifications. We do not know who are the real members, who are real the players who are playing, but they don't seem to be just confined to Latin America. You can think about the former USSR, for instance. You could think about the example, the precedence of the 13-day crisis, with John Kennedy and Cuba. You could think about Pacem in Terris with Pope John XXIII addressing the two presidents of the Soviet Union and the United States, the nuclear missile crisis. You could think about Iran and involvement, about Hezbollah and involvement in Latin America, the narcotics in Latin America. I think the new world with President Trump being now in confrontation, and somehow there is some sort of confrontation going up between us and Latin America. Is it really about immigration and narcotic? Is it a deeper problem? I am afraid that this new world is being open to a chapter of some sort of instability and some war fronts, just like the Balkan areas, just like the Middle East areas, and I don't think it is settling, and we're not prepared for it as Americans.
Yeah, so it's funny you talked about it, because when we were talking about the Title 50 stuff that Joseph was talking about, Joe, I think one of the things that we're trying to figure out is what is the transparency, right? Like why do we have the transparency right now on Title 50? And is this a play against Maduro? Is this a play against acknowledgement of gun running or drugs? Because, I mean, frankly, we're doing crazy stuff in South America we haven't done since the Contra affair, frankly.
Yeah. It's funny. I was talking to a friend of mine last night about this, and there's a bigger picture here. This isn't just about drugs. That's not enough. Not to commit the assets that we're doing right now and talking about Title 50 and all of that. If I'm not mistaken, and guys, don't quote me on this, I believe it was in the 2000s that Venezuela and Iran signed some kind of technical agreement to supply Iran with like drones and transfer kits and all kinds of things. I think there's a bigger picture, like globally, than just drugs. It has to be more than just that. Obviously, we're not going to know what it is. Maybe
Machines.
someday. But it's not just drugs.
It's election machines, Joe. It's election machines.
Yeah. I don't know. I will tell you this. I hope that the leadership, boots on the ground, if they're going to be conducting special operations in Venezuela, are smart enough to use technology to their advantage, do kinetic strikes, don't necessarily put guys kicking indoors, because they're going to take losses. You've already said we're coming, they're prepared, even though our guys can still do the deed and win the day, they're going to take losses. I would rather see drone attacks, kinetic strikes, UAV strikes, predator strikes, and to get the job done. But it's a much, much bigger picture than drugs. That's for sure. I mean, didn't Venezuela just like offer the keys to the city to Trump, and Trump was like, "Don't want nothing to do with you"? And didn't that just happen?
Yeah. So I think that ties back again. I mean, I said the machines just as an aside of not joking, sort of. But if you tie back to all the things about Smartmatics guys being arrested and being indicted, and then the other things that are closely related to that, as it relates to the things that were, Dominion just got basically a reskin, which we're going to talk about tomorrow. We're in a. It feels like an active war when you're talking about even doing covert operations in public or in the public eye, it can't be about drugs, because we'd have to attack every country in South and Central America. It can't be about money or even political indifference. It has to be something much more sinister or much more serious. And frankly, you'd be hard pressed to not think that the elections across the country for the last 20 years haven't been adversely affected or stolen by people in Venezuela.
I think what Teti said is a good focus on committing these assets. It's not any old asset, in the same way that, close air support isn't some, 40-year-old, F-15. If you're sending out something like a B-2 bomber, you're sending out a $2 billion aircraft. I mean, you're not rolling that out there for close. You're going for something. You're going for the king. You're going for something. The very fact that they are committing, I think you're both right. It can't just be drugs. There is something much larger. And unlike the B-2 bomber, you can eventually find out what it was going, because you find the crater. You're maybe never going to know what exactly they're doing. I mean, best case, it's declassified in 50 years. Most likely, you'll never find out. Yeah, it's got to be something. I mean, it can't just be drugs, be it election machines, be it, I have no idea what the resources are there, be it fissile materials, be it, technology transfer. But and that's what I was saying to you this morning, Joe, on our Zoom call. I'm like, I don't think people have a real grasp on how momentous it is to not only commit, Title 50 assets, but to announce it as well. Those are two.
Well, do you think it was a slip up? Do you think it was a slip up on his part?
We have Joe with us, so Ted, what are your thoughts?
Nah, you don't slip that up. That's not a oops, I forgot to not say this is covert action. I mean, that is not a slip up. That was a direct, you know what? These are the guys that are coming after you. You're
look, for a $50 million bounty, I'll go put a
no, yeah, right. Right.
Big number. And I'm very capable, and I know you're capable. Just big number, like 4 guys. We'll just get you KIA.
Yeah, it's. No, I think President Trump said that on purpose, and don't forget who's pushing this down the road. Pete Hegseth. That dude's a rock star, man. He's all about the war fighter. That dude wants to unleash the dogs of war. And when you've got that kind of power and those kind of assets to say, go,
All right. Yeah. So that leads me really to where we are right now. We have to look at this from a standpoint of chess. And I know most of the time the Americans can only fathom one dimension or 2 dimensions of warfare. It's obvious that we're in 4 or 5 or 6 degrees or dimensions of warfare right now. And we can't see who the target is. And my guess is, just based on what I've seen before, is that the target's probably not even in Venezuela. It probably has nothing to do with Venezuela. It's probably close to, or in an area that's in, where they can have close contact surveillance in that region. And they're looking for a George Soros or some other disruptor that would do harm to not just South and Central America, but much of what's happening in the United States.
Very plausible. No, very plausible. Deception is a huge part of war. It's a great tactic to use. And I don't know how true this is. I got an email the other day, and a buddy of mine said, "Hey, man, the ghost ship is parked off the coast of Venezuela somewhere." I don't know if y'all know what the ghost ship is.
Is that the Zumwalt?
Y'all know what that is?
Is that the Zumwalt? You said the ghost ship?
Yeah, it's a platform. It's a special operations platform that it's very nondescript looking. But it's a maritime platform that you can use to launch various aerial assets and maritime assets. It's very self-supportive. You can do all kinds of things. I don't want.
It's called nondescript. A nondescript platform off the coast of Venezuela.
It doesn't look like a battleship. Yeah, it doesn't look like a battleship. That's what I'm saying.
It doesn't look like a cargo ship. It looks like.
Yeah, you can Google it. I'm sure there's pictures of it out there. But anyway, supposedly that thing's been deployed. So, but anyway, again, unvetted, don't know just what I've been told, but it makes complete sense because that would work great in that environment.
Oof.
Well,
Ghost
I
ship.
want to ask you this question because Father Mahana, you spent a lot of time overseas. When President Trump left office, you had to go into hiding.
Yes, unfortunately.
And they wanted to kill you.
Yes.
And so this is, I mean, this is what we face here in the United States. This is something that you've experienced over in Lebanon. You've been in other countries, but you came here. You had to go into hiding in the United States.
In the United States, unfortunately. I'm thinking that, well, I didn't take it seriously, honestly. Had I taken it seriously, probably the outcome would have been different. But I couldn't believe that something will happen locally in Colorado, in my church, breaking an entry, stealing things, and also trying to go in with a machete in the middle by 2:33 a.m. And somebody trying to kill you, and you have the police cars responding, you have the local authorities responded, you had even fire department coming in, and it took me about 3 hours to negotiate my own release from the hand of the person who once raised the actual machete. The only thing he started shouting is that, I can't touch you, you're a good man, I can't touch you, they want me to kill you, they want me to kill you. And he literally said, I can't touch you. And then by the time my security manager, Mr. Milishi, came in with the local police and here in Denver metro area, it was a revelation lesson for me that no one is safe anywhere in the world. I understood early, that was in 2019, as a matter of fact, in October. I understood right away. This is a year in which the president is running for re-election. This is the heat of his campaign for the 2020 election. I'm not a politician, and I was never part of a political system, meaning like going as a priest. We had a cause, and the cause was to educate the official leaders about the persecuted Christians. And I thought I'm bringing them a cause of about 280 million Christians being severely persecuted in the world. And of course I had knowledge, of course I had information, and I thought that passing this information to all elected officials and the candidates who were running for public office, I requested meeting with Mrs. Clinton at the time, with President Trump again and again, with whoever was running during the 2015 and 2019 as well. So this was a turning point event for me. And of course, inside the church institution, I did not know that canon law could be weaponized. I did not know that there is communication between the intel communities and church leadership on how to dispose of or how to cancel somebody or how to exile somebody. So yes, it was a very tough and rough, inhumane experience. And by the way, in 2016, on the morning of probably November 5th, if I'm not mistaken, I get a weird phone call. We still have it on record, by the way, and we gave a copy to the police, and they didn't do anything about it. In a devilish voice, somebody calls my church line on a voice message, also at night, and says, you do not know what you did. You do not know what's going to happen to you. We're going to burn you. We're going to destroy you. We're going to kill you. And I gave those recordings to the police.
Pretty normal.
Yeah, and I thought they would attract them, you know, they would track them down and stuff like that. But the silence of the system in the face of these challenges that I face put me in a position where I knew that things are not what the people think to be. And when I saw the friends of President Trump falling one after the other and going and really in deep trouble, unfortunately, personally, professionally, their lives have been almost really terminated. It showed me that this is a massive attack, and I'm not sure if we have enough defense on our side to be able to protect us for life, for faith, for freedom, for family, and for the right of the pursuit of happiness, because this is really what I was trying to stand for, knowing and believing and trusting that the United States, after the Bible, after the Christian lifestyle, has the best way of living that could be fair, regardless of our mistakes, despite of our mistakes.
So that leads me to I mean, Joe, you're an operator. At lunch today, I asked Father Mahana, I said, listen, we need a fraternity. We've got to start actually taking care of our community at our community. Because what are you going to do? What are you going to do, Joe, if something happens to your daughter's school and you went through this whole deal and you're like, you got to go to the press and and let's say they do what the press does now. They do nothing.
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
So, I mean, what did I say today? I was like, we need a fraternity. All the bad guys have fraternities. They got cartels in the government and everything else. Frankly, men do not stand together. We don't stand together. So it's not like Joe, you called me in the middle of the day. I barely know you, but you know, Boz, frankly, he could call me too. You say, Joe's 2:00 in the morning, bring a shovel. Don't ask any questions. I'd be there. But that's the type of fraternity we're going to have to build in our country, because it feels like we're in a lawless environment. And yeah, we're blowing up Venezuela, but look what's happening here in the United States. It's awful.
It's shocking that such a godly man would be, have to deal with that. That's really shocking. Like that, I'm not shocked by much, but that really kind of hit home. And so I had no idea that happened to you, Father. And that just goes to show you what level playing field these people are willing to play on.
Correct.
That's awful.
I actually think there's quite a clear mirror to Teti, what you're talking about at your daughter's school and what happened to Father. I mean, what are both of them in the most broad strokes? Bad thing, threat, go through official channels, denied.
Right.
So in the most broad strokes, if you're to break it down, it leads you to the same thing, which is what Oltmann said. It eventually comes down to self-accountability. No one's doing this for me. No one's going to come help me. And that's what it does come down to is, and not to shamelessly plug, but I mean, like Joe's training, it's how you take everyday guys like me who aren't an operator, and it's, the basics on like, hey, here's how to shoot and here's how not to end up zip tied to the back of a windowless van. Like, and I think that's kind of where this is going. And Joe, you said you were at some training thing the other week and it was absolutely packed. I think that's what a lot of this is people are seeing anything from Father, your tale to Teti's to what we all saw at the 2016 election, and it all goes up to 2020 election, it all goes up to the courts, and the court has no standing, and it goes back and back again, and time again, war with the FDA and the CDC, all the reasons I was banned from YouTube. You can only hit that pull that fire alarm so many times before you realize it's cut and the fire department doesn't care about you. So what are you going to do? And it's not a fun answer because that implies critical thought and, self-determination. But I think these are all pretty much the same things. The official channels are broken down. The threat still exists. What are you going to do? And I don't have the answer, Like we have guys like Joe, but I don't have the answer. I don't really know where I was going with all that, but
hey Joe, did you train Tommy to learn how to shoot, and did you get him past the pee in his pants when he got scared?
We actually spent some time together at a mutual friend's house who probably has the most insane gun collection I have ever seen of a private citizen. I don't want to mention his name.
I was going to say,
I've heard, but anyway, no, Tom can handle himself. There's no doubt about it. I was actually quite impressed.
Thank you, sir.
But yeah, to just kind of jump on Tom's back, and the best thing you can do is be prepared in whatever form that you want to take of that, whether it's from 1 to 10. How do you protect your family? Physically. Physical security, everything, travel security, home security. That's on the individual.
Okay, so
there are people out there like myself. Go seek them.
Yeah. So listen, I have SF friends for a reason, right? So you were in which SF? Were you 10th group? What were you?
19th and 20th.
Okay. So do you know Nate Bilo?
No, sir, I do not.
Okay. He's a knucklehead. I could probably list 20 people and we've sat around and talked and had this conversation. It's great to get trained, but people should get trained and have 3 or 4 or 5 or 10 other buddies that are also trained in the same area, right? So there should be this brotherhood that gets created, and not to leave women out of this deal, but you should have 8 to 10 to 12 brothers that within 20 minutes can be side by side with you, vice versa.
I have 5 gentlemen coming here Friday. They're all friends. They're from another state, and they're coming here for a few days to get very specific training. That's all I'm going to say. Very, very specific training that I can provide to them. And they're all, just like you're saying, they're all buddies. They're all businessmen, very successful. They looked online and basically said, hey, man, like, we're going to come train with you. You've kind of got the knowledge that we need, and they'll be here Friday. So I'm looking forward to training with them, actually. Bunch of good guys.
And do you do tactical comms? What do you do?
Yeah, well, I wasn't a comm guy, so I do tactical, like 1-man, 2-man CQB for military. I do surveillance, counter surveillance. I'm not a medic. I know basic medical stuff. My forte and wheelhouse is more on the tactical side. Shooting, obviously, pistol, carbine, CQB. I'm not a long gunner. I'm just getting into long gunning. But surveillance, counter surveillance, survival, preparedness, all of that stuff, home security, travel security, stuff like that. Apprehension avoidance, that's a big thing that I've been training a lot of people on, is apprehension avoidance, especially successful executive types that do a lot of traveling, that are more high profile and prone to getting hemmed up somewhere. Like, how do you spot hostile surveillance? If you spot it, what do you do? How should you set how do you set your hotel room up for success? And covert security cameras, all kinds of things. But that's kind of like my wheelhouse and my clientele right now.
Wow.
Yeah, you know what I'd love to do? I'd love to just get your thoughts on our full TAC pack that we have here. Our TAC packs even for surveillance, counter surveillance, huh?
For DCF?
Yeah. No, for what we have here. So I have a TAC pack for when they come to my house. So Joe, I have bulletproof glass thermal cameras at my house. I've literally have my house is, I got metal plates in the walls so nobody can shoot in. I got involved in the election fraud stuff, and people with guns came to my house and decided that I was going to be their punching bag. And then I had to get on the podcast and say, I won't just kill you, I will kill your whole family if you come to my house. Yeah, it was bad. It's really bad.
Wow. Well, dude, that's awesome. My house isn't quite that fortified. Obviously, that's a function of money, but that's great. If you can afford to do something like that, good on you, man. Lord knows I have great security here. I got a lot of cameras and a lot of solar lighting and other things. But that's not paranoia. People go, oh, that guy's just paranoid. No, he's not.
No, he's
just prepared. He's just prepared. He's financially able to do this, and he did it. Why?
It's not paranoia if it's real.
And that's a jealousy thing too. Well, I believe me, I know tons of people would love to have that opportunity. But good on you, man. I think that's fantastic. There's nothing wrong with that.
But I think TAC packs are really important because you can even take those with you, that are the non-lethal ones. Take them with you when you go travel, right? Sure. I don't go into a hotel room unless my hotel room has a camera in it that nobody can see. Like, I drop a camera everywhere I go, right? Yep. So I want to know if somebody
you know as well as I do, it's not expensive. You can buy these things online.
Yeah.
But people just don't think there's a lot of common sense to this. They just don't think about, like, I know somebody was traveling overseas the other day, and I said, where's your passport right now? It's in my hotel room.
Yeah, that's
what?
Dummy.
Okay. Like, just something as stupid as that. Like, it's in your hotel room. Yeah, why do I need it?
You stick it to the inside of your ass cheek is what you do. It doesn't leave you.
So anyway, but stuff like that, man. It's just I teach a lot of those courses. I also do a lot of custom stuff. So if an organization, I actually just did a security assessment on a church, and they had a very real threat from one member, and I went there and kind of said, hey, look, this is what I'm seeing. You got a lot of good stuff going on, but you've got some dead space here, and you got some things going on here, and believe it or not, even the preacher is carrying while he's talking. So, but I kind of dove into their training. I'm like, how much pistol training do you guys have? Because if you got to take a shot in here, you're going to have people running around and you may have a low percentage shot and you're probably going to hit the wrong person. So we're actually gravitating to getting them on the range and kind of cleaning up their shooting skills.
Or like they did in Minnesota where the two security guys shot each other. Shooting, they were like this. What is wrong with you guys?
You know, and that turns into a bigger mess. So anyway, but yeah, that's kind of what
I was gonna say, Ted, what you were saying, like it's not paranoia, and then Joe's got thermal cameras, and that's why I knew I wanted to introduce you to. But it's like when people aren't prepared, Joe, you drop a camera, and I go, yeah, well, here's the good father. It's like, yeah, no, there's no excuse now. I didn't know about any of this in the United States. I thought you were gonna tell us about how it happened in Serbia or something, but like no,
Right.
like well, there you go, man. When did it happen? Did it happen in 1949? It happened 8 years ago, and it happened in the United States. And who did it happen? Did it happen to me? I run my mouth. I probably deserve this, but no, it happened to the father. So like. Yeah, man, it's all kind of lining up to the threat is there. These people are insane, and it's the amount
the system
you
is
put
with
in.
them.
Yeah, and the system is with them,
Yes.
correct? It's the alarm doesn't work. So what are you going to do? And it's, what sell your cloak and buy a sword? Yeah.
So I actually think that while we're sitting here talking, we're actually working the problem in a really good way. So Father Mahana, you can cover the spiritual side, right?
By God's grace.
Yes.
Of course.
But we have got to get to a place, like it can't be so bad that I have to be prepared. It's got to be expensive. We've got to teach people to hunt. We've got to teach people to protect their families. We've got to teach people not to be victims.
Yeah, but from who? We live in the United States. I understand, like when I was telling you earlier, and I don't take pride in it, but, we have the marks of wars in us. We know what the bomb does. We know when
he got blown up too.
When we were kids, we were told who's the enemy, and we knew how to identify the enemy. There is no question.
Mm-hmm.
But how do you identify an enemy in the United States?
Blue hair.
It's, it's sad. But
I'm just kidding. You got blue hair. You're maybe not be a mark, but you're pretty close.
I think you're probably right.
Yeah, Father.
That's a good point, though. That's a very good point, though. I have to agree with you, Father. That's a very good point.
And this is a country where we want to preach peace. We want to preach the stability. We're happy that so far, for 250 years, only probably 2 or 3 major instabilities happened inside our country. And then after the Civil War and the Civil Rights Movement in the U.S., you're basically talking about a country where people lived and died not seeing except the peace, except the prosperity, except the stability, success after success, opportunity after opportunity. I think the assessment is, who is the attacker? The assessment is, are we under a coup, or this is really a split between 2 political parties? Is the United States under religious persecution of some sort? Are we going to wake up one day and Christianity and the Judeo-Christian principles of our life, the foundation that is in the Constitution, the divine providence that the fathers of the US spoke about, is all of this going to be annihilated? Just like after the first administration, they broke down and took off all the statues, right? The actual statues of certain history in the US. What will they do the next time? What else do they take? Do they take some people out? Our biological security in the U.S. I mean, Joseph was talking about a ship, somewhere around Venezuela. I worry that the attack this time is deeper and it goes beyond having a couple surveillance cameras and a security team and the bodily safety that you need for our homes. By the way, looking at our homes, and it in the Middle East, the way we are, and we live under walls, like real walls, right? Like I lived underground. I lived in a cave when I was a child. No U.S. home will stand. Our homes are made of wood.
Except for my house.
I mean, like, if I'm comparing, if this is a sort of insecurity and attack that might happen in the U.S., our homes will not stand. I mean, it's hard, but I don't think this is the actual risk that is probably going to attack us. I think the risk is deeper. You could see it from the propaganda in the media. You could see it from losing the freedom of speech. You could lose it. You could see it from the indoctrination in the educational system that is happening. That, for instance, for us in Lebanon, Joseph, every school when we were kids was protected. 1 week, so we have 2 homes in Lebanon, usually, many families do. On the weekend, they go to their mountain home, and on Monday morning, they come back to the city and they go to their school. So what the Syrian militaries and the Palestinian guerrillas and at the time Hezbollah militants used to do in 1980s, they used to send snipers and suicide bombers, and they would attack the school system because they did not want Christians to go to school. They did not want us because we always lived and dreamed and survived by education. Education was the most precious thing that family could offer to their children. If I'm in the US now, I do not want my child to go to a private education or to public education because they turn to become my enemy, right? Somehow they succeed turning them into the enemies of this country. I see it as an immigrant. So in Lebanon, every school had its own security team that protected it. In the US till now, with all the school shootings that you see, I bet you many schools don't have the security that they need, that you spoke about, you experienced, to protect their students. They don't have it. They don't want it.
Staggering.
Yeah, they don't want it. It's very clear that they don't want it. It's
yeah, but why?
Yeah, that's
why
what I'm saying.
You want the kids
why?
to be...
I don't have an answer to that.
Well, it's outright evil, or it's a sort of, hey, Joe, you're, as soon as you open your mouth, hey, I'm imagining as you tell them your resume, their first thought, I'm going to assume, is, right winger, he pro-Trump, fascist. There's all the labels you've been slapped with, not you specifically. Anyone who's, I have an American flag behind me. Immediately, there are assumptions about, I get what kind of podcast this is. What do you mean? I would imagine that at some level it is pure evil. I would imagine at other level it's low IQ tribalism. It really is. It's he's with them, and it didn't matter what you offered. It wasn't specific. I think it could have been. You're talking about school shooting. I think you could have come in and talked about like a new cafeteria menu. I have a feeling you were going to be shown the door. Just a thought.
Probably.
My own
And
opinion.
I was.
Yeah, and you were. Yeah.
I was.
Yeah, it's. Yeah, I don't.
Well, I feel I did my civic duty. I can look in the mirror.
Yeah.
Like, I can only offer. There's nothing to really do.
Yeah, that's a touchy one though. With kids, it's like if it's all adults, yeah, you can kind of go, yeah, I did my best. But with kids, it's like the kids didn't send you away. That's what gets me. Is like, it's one thing if Joe, you offer this to me, and I'm in an apartment building with adults. Hey, that's on us. Something happens, that's on us. These kids didn't send you away. These 10-year-olds aren't telling you they don't want your security assessment. That's I don't know what to do with that.
How would you even live if you were one of these principals or the lady that's in charge of all the school security? How could you even live with yourself?
I don't think you would.
But they live with themselves really well.
Right.
Obviously. I mean, obviously, Joe.
It's not getting any better, right? I mean, look, you have people that came out for this No Kings deal. We should talk about that. They came out for they said it was 650,000. Let's say it's 1 million people. Let's just give it to the radical left and say it's 7 million. So 1.7% of the population decided to go out there and stay on the street, which we know it's not, right? But if you take out the people that went there just to observe the village idiots, now you're down to like 5 million. But let's hypothetically say that that's right. They can't have a coherent conversation and they still support it. They would rather the entire community be ravished by crime than stand up to crime and ship crime out. And say, hey, listen, you don't belong here anyway, get out. They are creating, and they call it fascism. I mean, you could not do any more soup salad than these people have done. The mental gymnastics that you would have to come with in order to get to a place where you would be able to justify saying the President Trump is a king and or a fascist, you'd have to be semi-retarded. So we're not dealing with smart people. We're dealing with people who they almost enjoy watching stuff happen, being a victim, watching stuff happen in their community.
That's why I said low IQ tribalism. I wasn't trying to be funny. It's a lot of it is you want to be in the in group, and we got the enemy. They're the out group, and you don't have to think about it. And Trump's, listen, if there's a real king, these protests wouldn't happen. You'd all be dead, and it wouldn't even make the news. It'd be Tiananmen Square. That's what it would be. So a lot of it, but it is, and it's like so that I think it kind of trickles down into how do you have people justifying attacking father? How do you have people justifying sending you away? Because you're right, how do they live themselves? They live themselves really well, and I think a lot of it. I do think at the very apex, it's pure evil and it's malicious evil. It's not incompetence. I think at the lower levels, man, it's low IQ. It's right. It's it's right in that it's right in the limbic system. It's emotional. It doesn't you don't have to think about it and digest it and self reflect. It's they're bad, we're good. It's I mean honestly, it's some of the oldest genetics in our species is tribalism. So yeah, they're kind of they're kind of dragging their knuckles and you're the bad guy. You're the outside. You're a fascist. You're the king. You're the whatever you want. All the stuff they've been saying to us for a decade. And I think you see it manifest in different ways. Either from, I think if you went and brought a camera to that school, you would get the same responses you did that you opened the show with, Joe, when you showed the No Kings responses. I think that's what you'd get.
Well, I actually kind of saw it. I actually kind of saw it in the office.
Yeah.
When I asked, can somebody tell me? And I mean, literally, couldn't get a word out.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you drank too much coffee this morning. I need to talk to somebody that can give me an answer, And sadly, like I said, I never got one. Found out, but I didn't get one from the leadership of the school.
Yeah. If I may say something out of history, I studied the history of the U.S. I majored in historical theology at St. Louis University.
And how many languages do you speak?
I know 12 languages. I speak about 7. I speak 7 languages, actually.
He's in the CIA with Joe.
This event, like a No King's Day, right? I mean, this basically, in a historical year, this almost is an invitation to the people to a new constitutional revolution, almost. A revolution that reminds the people that they're doing something good, reminding them of the atrocities and basically the U.S. and the British Empire at the time of King George, for instance, the days of George Washington. It's almost like creating a revolutionary spirit in the mind of people. So I don't think this is just an expression of a political opinion. I think this event is well crafted and is crafted as an educational event. You may call it indoctrinational event, and there is a step 2, there is step 3, there is step 4. So what did we achieve in the first revolution? When Europe in 1789, with the French Revolution, decided to fire God out of the public life, destroy the Christian Europe, and started targeting, and they took down every Christian, namely Catholic empire, every Catholic empire, up till 1914 when they took the Austro-Hungarian Empire, which was the last one that they took down. And now I think this is, again, it's taken us back to these initial times in which we succeeded, we created our independence, we saved our religious freedom, and through the amendments and the constitutional rights that we safeguarded with the beautiful work of the fathers who founded the United States of America, I think this is what's under attack now. And I think, unfortunately, if the people on the liberal side and conservative side, if any American citizen is to read what are they being invited to and how they are being told to demonstrate their rights, to show their fear and their concerns, I think they should read well the history of what gives them that right first before they proceed and they take any initiative or join any potential demonstration in the future. Because anything that is happening, it may not be for the good of anybody in the U.S. All are under attack. The liberals, the Democrats, the Republicans, the independents, everybody. I think U.S. is under attack in somehow. And what we just have to know is we have to assess why are we all under attack? Why is this internal division? There are two humanities almost. There is war and racism. There is war between immigrants and the naturally born in the U.S. There is war now, between a new religion coming all of a sudden to the U.S. and now it's becoming like it's one of the electoral messages to stand and say, "Hi, I'm a candidate, and by the way, I'm not Christian. I'm somebody else." And this got some points. Everything is being politicized. So what's happening? What is the aim of all of that? I think we need to assess that.
I agree.
It's a good point I hadn't thought of. I just look at the No Kings thing, think it's stupid. But they've probably taken it, right? You can only say Hitler so many times before people eventually do check out. I think this is another way to, it's like stochastic terrorism, How did Charlie Kirk get shot? How did Trump get shot? Meanwhile, you have articles about, like a couple days before they shoot Trump, right? It's like Biden said, putting Trump in the crosshairs. There is some very well thought out psychology to just flooding everything with these thoughts and then saying, hey, we never said to shoot Charlie Kirk. But when you say these people are fascists and they're a threat to your very existence, and we don't agree to disagree, your beliefs, your beliefs void negate my freedom to exist. Well, then all of a sudden, when the shooting does happen, they know exactly what they're doing. And I think what No Kings is it's just, yeah, they realize they pressed the Hitler button too many times over the last decade. Nobody's getting a synaptic response anymore, so they switched it out. We're going even further back. We're going Revolutionary War, No Kings. And I think that's a brilliant point, Father.
When are you going to train us, Joe?
Whenever you want, let me know. I'll be there.
I'll put you guys in touch.
Done and done. Yeah, give me my contact information and
I'll come out.
Joe, I know you're busy.
We should get Tommy out there too, just so I can show him a few things.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, if you got some like-minded individuals down that way, I'll be more than happy to come down there. Just let me know what you're looking for.
Well, Tig Tigan is one of my best friends, so Benghazi 13 hours guy.
Gotcha.
So I punch him in the face all the time. Just kidding. Sorry, Tig, if you're listening, I did not punch you. Can't run. You got a hip replacement.
Yeah, that's a tough movie to watch. For those of you that don't know what that is, just watch it. It's very, very difficult to see how, and a lot of the stuff that went down, you don't even hear about, like birds on the way with a bunch of SIF guys and, a colonel that was asked to retire for, there's all kinds of stuff behind the
stand down.
Disgusting. Yeah, disgusting.
Yeah, they betrayed that group.
Oh, they did.
Those brothers shouldn't have died. They shouldn't have died.
No, not at all.
And then Hillary Clinton, what difference does it make?
Yeah. And it was on her. She was Secretary of State, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, she was.
She was the one that made the call, from my understanding, to turn the bird around and send the guys back. And they could have been there in plenty of time to keep that whole thing from happening. But fate said a different word.
It's almost as if they planned it. If you read Sarah's book on it, kind of uncovering it, it's almost as if they planned the whole thing.
Well, didn't they accuse it of
their own people?
Didn't they originally accuse it on a YouTube video? Wasn't that the
that
original
guy went to jail for that?
Oh wow!
In prison for 4 years.
Oh wow! Didn't know that.
Yeah, over that video.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I think he did 4 years.
Wow.
Imagine that. So this is why I say that our system is fundamentally broken. We got Tina Peters sitting in jail for uncovering the election fraud. You've got people that stood up to the COVID madness and printed fake vaccine cards to give to people so that they could protect their family without putting themselves in jeopardy. Those people have gone to jail, have big fine. I feel like the U.S. government is so innately that they don't care. I feel like they don't care. I feel like they just don't give a shit. They don't care about killing babies. The pro-life movement. We talked about this. They don't care about killing babies.
Yeah.
So what do they care about? Because it certainly isn't getting done.
Here's my question, guys, real quick. Do you think we can fix this during this last tenure with President Trump? Do you think there's enough time to fix this? Yes or no?
If they what Oltmann's always on is if you clean out the ability and the actual infrastructure of elections, if you do that, well, then you buy yourself more time. You don't need to do it in this last interim. If you don't do that, I don't know. It's kind of nail and coffin-ish.
Look, if you want to know my opinion, we're already at war. It hasn't hit your front door yet, but if you're not training for it, we're already at war. And to what you said, Father, is that we don't know who to shoot. No, because they're smiling at you as they literally try to stick the knife in your back, right? And they're telling us that they're there to protect democracy. We're not a democracy. Mob rule should never exist in this country. But that's how they're framing the election systems. Like, hey, just stay at home, have convenience, cut off your penis. Here, watch sex books in second grade. I mean, I said that very flippantly, but that's really what's happening, right? And we're sitting back going, well, they're not doing it at my house. Well, basically everything around you is rotting out to the core. So, I mean, the answer is no, Joe, no. Well, no, we're not going to be able to save this country. And we get rid of the machines and mail-in ballots, we will give ourselves a lifeline. But if you think you can push the devil back into a hole without force, I mean, we've already caught him. We've already said good versus evil. We're already there. So if we're there, then it's just sitting there. What's that going? Oh, you caught me. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go hang back out in my hole. No, it's waiting for us to punch those little bastards in the mouth. Sorry, Father.
I think it's an experiment, Joseph. It's an experiment. If I were to compare it to medical terms, because I have board members who are doctors on our board of the Mission of Hope and Mercy, it feels as if the U.S. is dealing with an autoimmune disease. Again, it's one thing if we are being attacked from outside, you know how to stop the enemy. But it saddens me to see that our own body is attacking itself. Citizens attacking citizens. You know, how many people run people to the ground with fake and false rhetorics of whether gossip or indoctrination or false cases that have no foundation. You know, take people, the weaponization of the justice system, the weaponization of the medical system, the pharmaceutical companies, the technology in the US. I think we're dealing with somehow the corpus of the United States is attacking itself. I think to try to solve it, to see what can we, if we have time, no, but we have all the time. This is a spiritual crisis, first of all. This is a constitutional crisis, second of all. This is an administrative crisis, seen now with the shutdown of the government, that the actual officials that we elected as a people in the US are actually going through a crisis of management system over funding and over budgeting and allocation of grants. And what do they do with that? We do not want to talk about the content because we'll all be in trouble. I mean, where they are allocating these funds to go. But this is the public operation as a government is also messed up. And then you look at the church in the United States. You look at the scandals that you see, whether in the churches or you look at the relationship between religions. Everything in the US, for some reason, has been boiling as of a volcano is being getting ready. I think the way to treat it, people have to rise to a level of prayer. Really, I mean it, people have to pray. I mean it, people have, I do agree with Joe.
Are we playing for the purge, or what are we playing for?
But we're praying to see who still believes in the United States the way we know it. It's almost like you want to make some sort of a questionnaire and send it out to the people and tell them, hey, this is what the United States is. This is what we make a study when they approve us for citizenship, right? They give us this booklet and they tell us this is what you need to study to prepare for your citizenship. I think now, honestly, it's a joke, but every American citizen now need to pass this test again. They need to see, do you still believe in the same country? I'm sorry, I'm saying that. But I think these are parts to understand if people still realize what is the United States of America. It's almost we need to send this document that they present when you go to apply for citizenship. They make you study it. I think we need to send it to every home and tell them, hey, Tell your children, this is what America is. Do you still believe in it? Yes or no? What do you believe in? What do you not believe in? I think it's a problem, Joe.
Interesting.
I was just kidding about the purge.
Really? You could do spiritual purge. It's called exorcism.
You did that at the White House. So Fatima Hanna did an exorcism at the White House, yeah.
Really?
Exorcise the White House.
That's awesome.
Spirits. Well, we call it deliver and blessing. We call it, but I'm the priest who celebrated, unless there is another record for it, the first mass in a White House in history on October 12 and 13, 2018, at the 100-year anniversary of Our Lady of Fatima, which was Columbus Day, which was the feast of the finding of the New World, basically, and Our Lady of Grace and the miracle of the Son of the Third Secret of Fatima in 1917. And the President was kind enough, and I celebrated the Holy Mass in the White House in the West Wing with many people in attendance. The internal people, yes. And for all of that, the reward is
you get attacked.
The attack, big attack. But the gates of hell shall not prevail against her. Really, my prayer is for you and me to say about the United States, which is almost for me is more than a country.
Yeah.
It's more than a nation. It's more than a dream. It's more than a land of opportunities. I think the United States has a spiritual destiny. It's a daughter of the church. You know, I think in 1789, and I'm sorry, I'm talking probably a lot about this. I think when France neglected God, you know what we used to call France? La fille aînée de l'Église, the big daughter of the church, the oldest daughter of the church. Supposedly France was supposed to protect the church, promote the church, all the school of theologies, the universities, the medical system, everything. It was a beautiful relationship. It protected and it carried the church. Wherever the French Empire went, there the church was with them. I'm talking the Catholic Church. In 1789, when France rejected the church altogether, and they created, you know what was the first consequence of the French Revolution, right? The reign of terror. For 17 or 18 years after the French Revolution, the government of the newly formed government of the revolutionaries, they killed and they desecrated the churches, and they killed over 60,000 Catholics in France, and they took all the properties of the churches. At that same year, United States was formed, a country that safeguarded religious freedom. I think at that time, God was happy and was pleased with the United States, and the U.S. became the daughter of Christ, the daughter of Christianity, and somehow. But now at this point, I think instead of planning to go to war and dividing ourselves, we should plan to save our spiritual salvation, first of all, and the spiritual destiny of the U.S. And we should call people back as a prophet, as a Christ, as a people of goodwill, people of faith. Tell them, walk again with Christ. And I think Christ will be the only person in his divinity and humanity who can still safeguard us, Joseph, as the United States of America to be one nation under God. I don't mean this as a slogan. I mean it from my personal experience. I believe that the U.S. destiny as a spiritual country is coming. We will embrace the cross, but we will lead the humanity again to a time of peace. But we have to suffer a little bit in meanwhile. And we do need the fraternity.
Wow.
Beautifully said.
Yeah, that's pretty powerful. Wow.
That's amazing.
Wow. All right, Joe, I'll keep you here forever, but
it's okay.
First of all, how can people get trained? Let's do that. And then
so the easiest way to get a hold of me is just go to our website. Just go to JoeTeti.com. From there, you can hit Train with Joe. You can get my book and whatnot. That's the easiest thing. The training company is called Spartan Americana. But if you go to my page, JoeTeti.com, it'll just click train. It'll take you right to that page. There it is right there. That's That's it right there. Yes, sir.
Do we get to jump out of the plane? Is that?
Don't you? You know what? I'll be the first one to tell you, bro. Wasn't my favorite thing. I did it because it was part of my work, but and I got the job done. But yeah, not. I got some funny stories about that some other day. But yeah, just part of the work. You know, this is the way we got to work.
Yeah, not my cup of tea.
Hey,
not mine either.
I jumped out of planes. I'm actually afraid of heights. And so I would go jump out of planes so I could break myself from being afraid of heights and climb mountains.
That'll do it. That'll do it for sure.
Yeah, it was my way out. All right, Joe, how can people follow you?
Yeah, we got Instagram page, we got a Facebook page. You know, I'm not a big TikTok person, but
you should be.
Yeah, right. You know, we don't want to get down that rabbit hole. So, but yeah, just anybody's listening. If you have questions, just send us an email. You know, I'll respond within 24 hours. And if I can help you, great. One thing I won't do, guys, is if I am not qualified to train you on something, I will just refer you to somebody else or just say, look, I'm not qualified to do that. I stay in my lane, and I don't waver. You know.
Awesome.
Beautifully said.
Joe, thanks for joining us today, brother.
Yes, sir. Pleasure, sir. Thank you for
I'll have you
inviting.
back on. I'm going to have Boz on and you on, and we're going to talk about kind of working the problem from a different perspective.
Yes, sir.
I know that I want to say I appreciate all the work that you've done. Even though I'm not a fan of the CIA, I am a fan of the special ops and the work that you operators have done. So thank you very much.
Sure.
All right.
So Joe and I hopping off.
Yeah, get out of here.
Get out of here.
No, I'm just kidding.
Father.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks, Tommy. Appreciate you. All right, love you guys. See you guys. Good guys.
Wow.
Really good guys.
That was interesting.
You know, we're at a different place where, you know, somebody once said to me, they're like, Joe, you talk about the war, like you talk about the things that take us down a path where it's always a stick. But it's not actually how I start. I start every day with prayer. I give it all to God. I'm like, listen, whatever you want me to do. But Father, it's allowed me to get to a place where I'm comfortable with death. Like I'm so comfortable with it. I'm like, I'm good. I feel like that I have this cover, like that that I'm being protected every day. And yet I know that could end. It could end tomorrow. I could get taken out tomorrow and be okay with it. I'd be like, okay, I'm good. But I'm going to continue to walk this path where I will do battle. And I don't feel bad about doing battle. I don't feel bad about it at all.
No, I mean, we did battles all of our lives. You were in the toughest places on planet Earth, as a matter of fact. And you probably saw death every day. You saw deception at the same time, every day. But did it ever get to you that the best thing we could do, the best fight, is when you try to live at peace? Not be coward, but to try to make a difference, just like the same way Jesus Christ did, right? Barabbas was inviting him secretly, we know from many stories around the gospel, to join his revolutionary movement. But Jesus was no enemy to the Roman Empire, except that Jesus was the only person in history who overturned the Roman Empire. So Jesus was actually the enemy of the Roman Empire that the Roman Empire did not even think about. And his death was even more powerful than his life. And his resurrection was the beginning of the victory for Christians, basically. So I dream when they face us with the challenges to go face death. You know, there are religions who consecrate death. They value death a lot. We value martyrdom. We don't value death. There is a difference. When you go for death, it's honestly against God's original blessing, because God created us, and He, when He breathed in our nostril, He made us living beings.
Yeah.
We don't value death. We value martyrdom. Martyrdom, or martyrion in the Greek language, it doesn't mean to die for the sake of Christ. It means to witness for Christ, including death. It's a testimony. I honestly, if people like you, people like the people you just had, your guests, people who are behind the cameras here today, people are listening and watching you, I think there is a fundamental question for every American citizen. How much are you still willing to defend your faith in Jesus Christ? Honestly, I believe this is a real attack that is happening today against the United States. United States did not buy in to deny and to kill God when Europe decided that that's it, we want to stay without God. I'm talking back 300 years ago, 250 years ago. United States, for some reason, was a diversion. It says, I'm not going to fit that system. I'm going to actually protect religious freedom. I'm going to live for God. And look, we were blessed. And look how much blessing we have known in the U.S. and we still know every day today. So I think the perspective should be, how can we fight to maintain the blessing of life, prosperity, faith, and family in the United States? For that, we witness to Jesus Christ, who is the cornerstone of the U.S., before the Constitution and with the Constitution, and I think we will find our way out. But are Americans willing to still say, I am Christian? That's the question. So yes, if my witness to Jesus Christ in the U.S. is going to lead for death, I think they tried to kill me already, and by God's grace, I proved and I'm unworthy of such an honor to be counted as a martyr for the Lord Jesus Christ. But if it comes to happen, yes, as Charlie Kirk said, I want to be known for my faith and my courage.
Yeah, I second that. I second this, the ability to be a good example for my children and for other people around me, while recognizing that I have to always be ready.
Yes.
I have to always be ready for the fight while I'm in the fight. So I have to be willing to love people in peace. You know, I want to say this. All the time that I spent over in the Middle East and Africa, and I was telling you about the fact that my daughter went to school, and so her boyfriend is in there. He actually works up. He helps with the program, and so he's heard this before. So she thought I was going to die every time I left the house, every time I went overseas. And every time I went overseas, no matter what country I was in, and mostly the Middle East and Africa, right? So, but no matter what country I went into, I learned about the smile.
Yes.
The smile of deception and the smile of purity. The people who were smiling at you because they really did want you to solve a problem. And then that smile that smile that you know where there's ice in their veins and they just want the opportunity to take you out.
Right.
So that 6.5 years in that environment taught me about the people that work for you that tell you things like they're on your side and they're not. The people that try to lead you down politically, lead you down a path, and you know that they don't believe the path that you're on. And so it prepared me for the peace part. The prayer that maybe they'll see that you're trying to take them down a path that's of goodness, but then recognizing that you could, 5 out of 10 times, 6 out of 10 times, you're going to have to go to battle. You're going to have to go to war, but not wanting it, just knowing that, hey, let's pursue peace while recognizing that evil is like right around the corner.
Well, there is this example that Jesus gives. If you go to war and you're a king, and you have 20,000 soldiers, and you're going to face a king who has 60,000 soldiers. Mm-hmm. Well, first of all, you can't. It doesn't add up. Mathematically, you are way outnumbered. And he even says, go and negotiate. Go and seek peace.
Right.
Because after that, if peace is refused, at least your whatever victims you are incurring after that, it is martyrdom.
Yeah.
It is death for the patria. But at least you have to negotiate because you are outnumbered. Do your diplomatic course. Did we really do all our diplomatic initiatives? Did we really did everything to try to redeem the problems that we have in the United States before we start speaking about that's it, that's the ultimate time. We have reached this moment in which there is a war. And I tell you why not. For instance, we elect public officials, but then when they get into office, we do not know who they respond to anymore, but they do not respond to the base.
They have no interest in the base.
There is no system.
We're an inconvenience to them.
There is no system to hold them accountable
Right.
when they do not respond to the base. Could we improve on that? To hold them accountable so that they respond to the base.
Well, that means you'd have to have consequences for bad behavior, but they don't have that either.
Okay, then that would be an improvement, for instance, to be done. And that's something you guys, electoral companies and networks and the fundraisers and the local parties, I think they have the obligation, because you're right. Otherwise, we are going to war because part of the country is being delivered to deception, as you said. And part of this deception is that you elected people, but then they go on an agenda that is drifted away from the base. That is deception. And they still smile to your face. They still are happy to take your money. They still are happy to tell you, oh, we haven't heard from you. They keep sending you messages, right, to your phone and telling you, we miss you. We want to hear from you. For what? So I think we still have some initiatives we can do in the U.S., including awareness. I wish if you can create an AI that is specialized literally in this fight.
Well, yeah, I think you're, I don't think you're right. I know you're right. But I look at it from the perspective of, by the way, the only time, well, actually not the only time, but one of the times in the Bible, which is in Judges, was the Gideon 300, 32,000 to 10,000 to 300. And he says when they go down to the water, if they lift the water to their mouths, those are the ones that will be the men that you go to war with, and send the rest away, right?
Right.
And so God can deliver. I think what the message of the living word is that God can deliver us, right? But we have to be faithful, and we have to walk in that faith. And they say, by the grace of God, you'll be saved, you'll have eternal life. But He's not promising you anything if you don't get in the work and not do the work that's necessary for Him to deliver us.
Absolutely, we have to walk with Him.
Yeah.
No, you're right. I see what you mean. But as every one of us in the United States realize that we have a responsibility towards our country. All the responsibility is to care for my yearly budget, my taxes that I need to pay, the life that I need to conduct, and the house that I need to establish and to maintain, and the family that I need to grow. I think there has to be a patriotic civic education again in the U.S., away from the political messaging, to tell every American citizen, here's what we care for as Americans. And I think this will save us, this honestly. And this is a tool, this is a weapon. This is part of how you go to that battle, because I think the guys online said it as well. If we do those things today, are we sure it's gonna reach the people? Like, do they let it happen on X? Do they let it happen on YouTube, or they take you down? If you send awareness messages to your friends, if you use your mailing, and you send mailing to people, are the people gonna open the mail? Imagine if we send an envelope to the people, open this envelope because it will save your life and your country. How many people you think they will open it?
Not many, because that means you have to be aware. Now you know what your obligation is in order to save your country, and that's where people draw the line. They're like, I'd rather. You said it at lunch. People are more willing to follow a lie. They'll just follow the lie. Yeah. But if you tell them the truth, they won't follow it.
They won't.
It's as if they're allergic to it. Well, that's like, yes, can't follow that.
Because it costs.
Yes, because there's a cost.
There is a cost.
I want to show you some things. We're on the 20th day, Father, of the shutdown, and Speaker Johnson is ripping the Democrats for playing games with the showdown. They could stop it tomorrow. Just, we're not going to give money. We're not going to give health care to illegals, which Call it what you want. If you're here illegally and you have a job, you have access to health care, but if you're trying to get it for free, you wouldn't get it, right? Let's go ahead and play it.
This is the first time in history that any party has had the audacity to shut down the government over a totally clean, nonpartisan continuing resolution. This is a political stunt, and it's the first time it's been done, and it is the most costly, most selfish, most dangerous political stunt in the history of the United States Congress, because as we have stood here day after day after day explaining all the Americans who are being harmed by this nonsense. And the Senate Democrats have zero shame about this. They don't have any shame at all about the pain that they're inflicting upon hardworking families, upon soldiers and law enforcement officers and veterans and the elderly and the disabled and women, infants, and children. Services to all those categories and paychecks to those folks are being stalled because Democrats are playing games.
Wow. Don't we have the majority in the House?
Yeah.
So what justifies the shutdown?
You have to have 60 votes.
And they don't, even though they have the majority.
They only have 52, I think, 53.
Okay, so you still have...
They need 6 more.
6 more.
But the people are being hurt, and they're using the American public as the bully pulpit. I mean, they're literally, as you know, he doesn't care. I don't care if you're on the left or the right. They just don't care about the people, right? They don't.
Yeah, unfortunately, the consequences are bad, and there could be firing, and people could lose their jobs, I guess, in the government.
But here's what else happened. I want you to see this. This is the EBT cards, food stamp card program.
Yeah.
If it goes into this month, in the coming month, they won't get any food stamps. So people aren't going to get paid. Here, play it.
Just find out there's no EBT next month. My heart. There's no EBT next month. What is this pumpkin man doing, bro? Why the fuck we gotta starve on Thanksgiving? Are you dead ass, pumpkin man? It's like, yo, he just said you gotta like... Why the fuck there's no EBT next month? Why the fuck November though? It couldn't be January, Feb, March it? Why the fuck does it have to be November? Why November? Yo. How the fuck am I supposed to afford groceries? How the fuck am I supposed to afford groceries if we gotta suffer? On Thanksgiving too. We were supposed to eat better today, now we gotta starve today. Guys, I'm just finding...
Who did those videos?
Okay, that guy right there, by the way, we looked into it. He shouldn't even qualify for EBT cards. He's making on the average of $7,500 to $8,000 a month just on TikTok.
Yeah, he's a TikToker.
Yeah, so why would he qualify for, why is he getting EBT cards? Food stamps. Why is that guy getting food stamps? See, this is my problem, Father. There are people that need help. There are people in this country that need help.
Yeah.
You do not turn your back. I am a firm believer. I have paid for kids to go to college, to further their education. I've worked with the inner city to make sure that, you know, I work with gang members and people that go to prison for 20 years and get out after 10. I've given. Those are all people that are willing participants that want to do better in life. You should always give an upper hand. But then you have people like this that are taking what is never theirs to take. They get paid enough that they can take care of their own, but they take their own and they take yours. I don't know, you give me free stuff and I get to keep all my money.
Well, what are they trying to negotiate, in your opinion, in the Congress? Why they're using the money as a pressure, right? As a pressure point. Is it negotiation over supporting certain programs overseas? Is it about political gains on domestic policies or domestic offices?
I think that this is just they're creating a narrative. Remember, a lie gets accepted faster. He's like, what are you doing, pumpkin man? Right? Why? Because everything that they're doing is designed to make people turn against President Trump. Because they want to take away from... It's like this. They want to beat the American people, and then they want to look over there and say, I beat you because of him.
So it's a big psychological operation.
Yes. Yeah.
Same thing when I look at the immigrants case, you know, up till today, I think, or up till August, if I'm not mistaken, more people were deported under President Obama, actually, than up till August, at least 20th, than what President Trump has done. More people were still like in the hundreds of thousands more. So I wonder, what is the point of the psychological operation, and why isn't the president, is he aware of it?
Yeah, but you have this thing called the Smith-Mundt Act. Smith-Mundt Modernization Act of 2012, signed under Obama, that gave the ability for the government to lie to its people. So he actually, they can lie, and he can say they're lying, and then the other side said, no, they're lying. And so it's lie versus lie. But who's getting hurt? See, the people are getting hurt because they can't get paid.
And obviously
right?
the president, it seems that the president is being targeted again.
Yes.
It seems it's being targeted.
It's the devil itself saying, I'm a devil, I don't exist. It's his fault.
So where's the glitch?
Yeah. This is, I don't know. We got this. Somebody talking about the EBT cards. Let's go and play it.
So I don't know what I'm gonna do now. I came down to the store because I thought my food stamps were supposed to be loading, and there's nothing on there. So I reached out to the office, and there's a recording that says, due to the government shutdown, all benefits are placed on hold and no money will be loading. So I had a cart full of stuff because I just assumed it was going to be on there like it always is, and I'm not 100% sure. So then I called over to the housing office about the rent check, and they told me the same thing. It says, due to government shutdown, all funding has been stopped. Rent payment, please reach out to your landlord, as rent payments will not be funded for at least the month of October. Anyone else having this problem? Let me know in the comments, because I'm not really sure what to do now.
This is a mother of 4 with 4 children. What was missing, Father, from what she said? Did she talk about getting a job?
No, not looking for a job. I noticed, and she's well taken care of. I mean, she looks clean.
She has 70,000 followers. She's a TikToker.
Well, those are influencers, obviously. I mean, they're teaching the poor people how to speak, I guess, how to, if they are really under stress.
But they're not poor.
But they're not poor.
They get paid money, and then they can hide that money.
See, that's the age of deception. That's the age of indoctrination.
Yeah.
And so how do you oppose that? You know, we have studios, we have media influencers, we have things. I don't think it's up only to the president and his team to defend themselves. Right? I think every individual in the US who realizes that this is a big psychological operation, I think they have a responsibility, and they can do something strategic to go and tell their neighbor the reality. Probably a good act of a good deed. Like somebody calls this lady and tell her, if you really are coming to this month, or that other guy, without no food, this is a check, or this is your support for this month. You know, we go knock at their doors and be kind to them and tell them, we are here to support you. And then, and then you discover probably what you said, that, oh, actually, no, they don't need that support. But somebody needs to take them. They say in Lebanese, الحق الكذاب عباب الدار. Follow the liar to the footstep of their door. Follow them and tell them, you really are in need? I'm here to help you, and film it, and then put it back out there to oppose, I think, these lies, to call them out.
I mean, I agree with you. And the problem is it hurts the people that really are in need.
Yeah, it's emotional.
Again, they take what they think is theirs, while taking what was never theirs. And saying, oh yeah, I'm going to keep mine, but I'm going to take yours too. It's criminal. It's absolutely criminal.
And they're not in need.
So here's American on EBT. This just shows you a sense of entitlement. This is a problem. Go ahead and play it.
Are you using your food stamps to buy pumpkins to decorate for Halloween? Because I am. We're gonna paint these this weekend, and this is your sign to go use that EBT food stamp card, buy some pumpkins to carve or paint or decorate for Halloween. Little secret, if you buy pie pumpkins, which are the small ones, make sure they say pie pumpkins, and paint those, you can then use the pie pumpkins to cook and use as like a pumpkin puree. Okay, but maybe you don't want to do that. Maybe you just want to buy some white pumpkins and paint them and put them on your porch for Halloween because you and your children deserve Halloween decorations. I'm going to go to Aldi's and buy one big orange pumpkin so that I can carve it because I deserve to carve a pumpkin if I want to. And I can pay for that with my food stamp card. And I love that. And while we're there buying our pumpkins, don't forget to pick up some Halloween candy because you and your children deserve to enjoy the holidays. Next month, Thanksgiving. Actually, let's not talk about next month right now. Well, we're also talking about food stamps. Next month is uncertain. The holidays are coming. We deserve cookies, we deserve candy, we deserve pies, we deserve pumpkins to decorate. Happy Halloween. Love you.
Let me ask you a question, Father. She used a word 3 times. What word was it?
We deserve.
We deserve.
Yeah, as if the government or there is not enough opportunities in our country. There are no real poors in our country if we want it to be balanced. We have enough programs between private sector, between religious sector, between public sector, and the generosity of the private people in America. I know they can lift up every human being in the United States. Nobody can go hungry in the US. That there is no question. But you're right, that use of we deserve, we deserve, we deserve. Probably from an educational standard, she's probably is trying to tell those people about entitlement, but yet at the same time, she's not letting them know about the way they can be go-getters. They can actually get off their rear end and probably do something or address if there is laziness, if there is a real block. There are multiple networks and agencies in the US who can help the people to find the jobs, for instance, to find, to put their talent into an actual, commercialize their talent, to be able to translate it into an income generating talent, for instance. We have beautiful country. I do not know why these videos come this way. It's almost they don't fit. They don't fit.
No, at all. Well, what's even bigger is that now that we have this, they're going to shut off the EBT. Now they're threatening that they're going to just basically take what's not theirs. Play it.
I'm going to tell y'all straight up like this. I just got that text that the link is definitely cut the fuck off for November. Y'all better stay the fuck out of my way in these stores. I'm walking out with carts and I'm not paying for shit. Trump, if you want motherfuckers start looting, it's gonna happen. Before my kids go broke in this bitch like Jock, I'm gonna be stealing like it ain't no tomorrow. I am going to go in that store, get everything I get regularly. I'm going to bag my shit up, swipe my link card. As soon as that bitch say, ain't no pending balance on there, I'm going to walk the fuck out. And I'm going to have one of my cousins with me that'll punch your ass so hard, you going to think a Jet 2 holiday hit your bitch ass if you think I ain't finna walk out that store. And please follow me to that motherfucking car. If you feeling motherfucking froggy, bitch, you ain't going to make it back to your motherfucking position at that fucking Walmart store. I'm telling you. You want to take some link? Like, I don't be taking shit already. Watch this. It's okay.
I mean, you know, after Katrina, you know, the big hurricane, I was in Louisiana actually. And I left, I evacuated with the people who had a mission, and I was in Baton Rouge. And of course, you know, every time there are those big natural disasters in the US, looting happens actually.
Yeah.
And people go and they steal from the markets and they steal from the drugstores.
Yeah.
Yeah, they steal from the homes of the people. what saddens me about this particular video is that the black people, this is like almost profiling, right? Why did they choose a black woman? Why the black woman necessarily speaking about looting? It's sad to see this because the black people are not like this.
No.
More black people voted for President Trump. More programs have been done in the inner cities. And I know Dr. Ben Carson myself personally, and I had the honor to pray with him and his wife and to be with him. And when he was a secretary for the housing, I believe. And I know that the government is doing a lot of programs, and there's a lot of black people who are very supportive of the president. They are way, way, way more genuine and smarter than this. This something hurts them. They don't like. This is not right.
So I want to address that because I grew up in D.C. and I want to tell you guys about what happened. I want to tell you what happened yesterday, and I wasn't going to say anything. I'm only saying this because I saw an opportunity and I took it. I was at King Soopers. I have cats, and my wife wanted me to get cat litter. She's out of town. Don't judge me because I have cats. They kill the mice. I don't have any mice because we live on land. Okay. And there's a woman that's in front of me, and she bought a bunch of stuff. I mean, she bought a lot. I think it was, well, I mean, I don't know, it's a couple $100, $250 worth of stuff. She had coupons for everything.
Oh, wow.
She's, so she's conscientious, black lady. And I grew up in an interracial family, right? In a poor family, one of 8. And she goes up there and she puts her card, swipes her card, and she puts a PIN number in it, and the woman's like, "I'm sorry, you don't have it. It's declined." So I don't say anything. I'm looking at my phone. I'm like, my first inclination was, "You got to be kidding me," right? Because I knew what I was going to do. And she put her hand down, and the first thing she did is she went to solve the problem. She got in her wallet, tried to take cash out. She's like, "Okay," and then she says, "Can you take that back, put that back, put that back?" She's having her take it back, and I just walk over and I was like, "Stop." I looked at her and I was like, "Stop, stop, everybody stop." And I put my card down and I bought her.
And that's beautiful. This is a real American spirit. There is, I do not know if it's on YouTube or on X.
Yeah.
There is a gentleman whose job, he goes behind the people at Walmart, for instance, and I think he identifies those good people who he knows in somehow, or he must have researched that they can't afford what they want to buy.
But she looked at me with those eyes of, "I hate white people." and I just put my hand on her shoulder and I was like, "Everything's going to be okay." And she started.
This video is sad. This video is not good.
Yeah,
it's
not.
It's not good for the black people. It doesn't reflect.
The bad part is that she did it.
Yes.
She created that video.
Yeah.
In order to take it to a place, hurt people. Right?
And she's hurting the discipline of the black people. They're one of the most honestly educated. They look for education.
Yeah.
They dress up nice to their churches. They are communities of wonderful worshipers, and they're taking beautiful jobs and beautiful opportunities. And also to come up with such a video after you had an African American president in the United States to play those old games based on racism. I mean, what are you saying about the black people? I mean, it's sad. It doesn't apply. This video doesn't apply.
I think we could sketch it up to the fact that there's just crappy people. There's just really crappy people, and we that maybe need an exorcism, or maybe just need spanking. They need a little punishment when their parents were younger.
They need an invitation to repentance. First of all, they need And you know, we need to be. Not everything they do needs to be paid attention to. I think some of the things that you've shown me so far, I will be surprised if too many people believe in them. You said they have a lot of followers, actually.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, because it's a lot of bad people all at once. It's nuts. It's nuts. So I got to put this up here. This is kind of funny. So one of the things as we kind of wrap up is that Speaker Mike Johnson, and I didn't even think about this. Have you guys seen any chemtrails? Have you guys seen them? Any? Have you seen any chemtrails?
No.
I haven't seen any in like weeks. So chemtrails disappeared when the government shut
down.
Did you think about that?
No.
So here's what Mike Johnson said. To end the shutdown, Democrats are demanding $1.5 trillion in new partisan spending. These are an unserious proposal made by unserious people. Here's just a few of the things that are hold the government hostage. If you go through this, it's a lot. $200 billion in health care benefits for illegals, repeal the $50 billion rural hospital fund, permanent COVID subsidies without reform, $500 million for liberal news outlets, $4 million for global LG, whatever you want to call it, campaigns, $4 million for another LGBT grants in the Balkans, and $2 million for feminist democratic principles in Africa. That's what they're holding the American people hostage for.
So this is a portion that the Democrats wants to pass in that budget.
Yeah.
To open the government.
Yeah, they want to give free subsidies for $1.5 trillion. Yeah. But check this out. Remember what I said about the chemtrails? Go ahead, play it.
Well, apparently government shutdowns also stop the spraying on United States citizens. Look how clear the sky is. Thank you, Lord, for a government shutdown. Now we don't have to breathe aluminum and everything else that they spray on us.
I was actually at the house and I looked up and I went, wait, hold on a second. What is going on here? And somebody had called me and said, Joe, look up in the sky tomorrow. And I was like, okay. So I looked up, no chemtrails. I went back outside 2 hours later, no chemtrails. Went to go play golf, no chemtrails. None, zero. Now they said it was all caused by, but it just so happens, shut the government down. Now all of a sudden you don't have any of that in the sky.
And we used to see them actually.
All the time. So what happened?
They're not being paid.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. It is crazy. All right. Well, we took up a lot of your time. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. That was a beautiful surprise for me.
I want to have you back on and have you go through your story. I think it'd be awesome for people to hear the path that you've taken, including being bombed out and being in a war zone. We take for granted here in the United States all the gifts and promises and blessings that we have, that others are not fortunate enough to be able to live in places where, death is not an everyday thing, that you're in the middle of a war. And you might have peace for a week. It might be a month. But it's never promised.
Probably the lesson, first of all, thank you and to your team for being kind to me. It's amazing. I felt home. And thank you for your guests and also the subjects you treated. They mean a lot to me, and I know they mean a lot to every American person, to every American human being. I do not want to sound pacifistic because I'm not pacifistic. I'm a warrior, and I fought and I still fight, whether through the charity that we do and the stand that we take to protect honestly the sanity and the sanctity of a human life. In the past, you could say our duty was to protect the sanctity of life. Today, you have to protect the sanity of life. that the human beings still have a conscience, still can think right, can think in a balanced way. And I think that that's a problem. I wanna, if I were to pray for what would be the best thing to ask God for in the United States, I would say that every American person would wake up and would say, how can I merit life again instead of taking life for granted as usual? How can I merit life again? I think this life has been taken for granted in the US. And we have a lot of luxuries at our disposal. They taught us that we can dispose of a phone that cost us $2,000 and $1,000 and $800 every year and every 6 months. They taught us you can dispose of an iPad and, you know, those electronic devices. They taught us you can throw bottles. I remember my mom, when I was a kid, every glass bottle we had to collect so we can put water in it, put it in the sun, so we can purify the water and be able to drink it. And today, you buy those bottles of glasses and you throw them. Plastics and you dispose of them. Food and you dispose of it. There's so much and so many. And I think we have an indigestion in us as American people, not counting enough our graces, not appreciating these graces. And we have a due diligence and a duty to, again, go back as we are drawing near to Thanksgiving, coming to the Christmas time, to sit and gather our family and say, honest to God, we thank you, God, for giving us a country that allowed us to breathe, allowed us to have medical treatment, allowed us to have food at our table, the best education we could seek, the best jobs we could have. And despite all complexities, we have the best nation under the sky. We still have the best nation.
1,000%. And you know, it's hard because it's difficult to see all that through this incrementalism of evil.
It's true,
right? We're recognizing it now, which means if you can recognize it before it takes you over, you can fix it. We can fix this. It's just going to take a whole lot of tenacity, and frankly, people, you know, it's like when your kids do something wrong, you don't really want to punish them, but you know you have to, right? And we've
awareness and illumination of conscience. Awareness and illumination of conscience. It's time to put the crisis of the real poor people before the eyes of every American who cares. It's time to speak, for instance, about the persecuted church, the persecuted Christians. It's time to speak about the good things. You know, I wish we can go back to these media days where you speak about the good initiatives which were being done in the name of goodness sake, in the name of God's sake, in every area. We have a lot of good news happen in America. We just don't cover them. They go unnoticed. I think I'm telling you, we have a lot of weapons at our disposal of enough good people. There are 7,000 knees who did not bow to the beast in the US.
This is true.
We have to find them. And I'm sure they're doing a lot of good things around them. You just have to tell their stories.
Do you want to pray us out, or do you want
to? We pray.
All right, let's pray.
Well, it will be good at this time in which we are drawing near the early evening of the day to praise the Lord in this mid-afternoon and to tell him with Psalm 126, a joyful hope in God. Because the Lord has done great things for us. He is the source of all our joy. For when the Lord delivered Zion from bondage, it seemed like a dream. There was our mouth filled with laughter. On our lips there were songs. The heathens themselves said, what marvels the Lord worked for them. What marvels the Lord worked for us. Indeed, we were glad. Deliver us, O Lord, from our bondage. As streams in dry land, those who are sown in tears will sing when they reap. They go out full of tears, carrying seed for the sowing. They come back full of song. carrying their sheaves. Lord God, we thank you, for you are the builder of our home. And in vain do builders build, unless the Lord of the house is the builder. We ask you to bless every labor that we are still doing in your name in this country, especially this place, Joe and his team, our mission of hope and mercy, the people who are listening to us and watching us, the people who are crying in their silence, in loneliness, in homelessness, in rejection, in bads of sickness, in losses of loved ones. This is your children, Lord. This is your country, Lord. There are many people still kneeling every day to the power of your cross. There are people also trying to protect our country as vigilant soldiers in our military and the people who protect us in every city. There are people who are still trying to do what is right, as we have elected them to care for our common good. But, oh Lord, there are the intruders, there are the traitors, there are the infiltrators, and we do have enemies, beginning with our own sins, beginning with our own shortcomings, beginning also with the destiny that you have called us to, as to be one nation under God. This is more than a proclamation. This is a destiny that you have revealed to our fathers, the founding fathers of this nation. So now this nation under God, O Lord, has been invited to multiple times to divorce, to multiple times to split away from the source of its blessing. I ask you, come, bless the seeds that every good American person now who is aware and have become aware of this problem and is trying to do something about it, bless and give success to the works of our hands, that in the face of evil, the seeds of goods that we planted with tears, with persecution, will plant, will flourish in a good soil of this beautiful country, that one day will end up leading the world and all the nations of this world and ushering them to your kingdom and leading them to days where there is a purity and there is a charity, days of righteousness and justice and peace. Because by the power of the cross of your Son, our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, and by his sign of the cross, we will conquer all of our enemies and all our sins will be forgiven. So bless us, O Lord. Protect us from all evil. Forgive us our sins. Bring us to the peace, to the joy, to the victory of your only begotten Son, and as one and united, great, wonderful country, to lead in this world in charity and in purity and in repentance, bring us all to Christ's peace and to everlasting life. Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
Thank you.
You can follow Father Mahana on X.
On X, Mission of Hope and Mercy .org or Mission of Hope and Mercy.
Mission of Hope and Mercy. I'll put it on the socials as well. Thank you for being here.
Thank you
for that prayer.
That was an honor.
Yeah. All right, we'll see you guys tomorrow. We have Tim Bottoms on tomorrow. I don't think. Yeah. So yeah, thanks for staying with us and God bless you. We'll see you tomorrow. Wait, let me see what I got here. I just got in time to say goodbye. Y.O. Grammy, it's good to see you again. Avery 1966, agreed. I don't know what you're agreeing to, but it's probably good. Gammy, and we'll rise again. Absolutely. Dallas Home, Avery Wright. I'm trying to follow you guys. You guys are talking to each other, not to me, so which is always good to see. I want to say this. You guys have built a fraternity of yourselves in the comments, and you know, that's really, really special. So yeah, it's good to see. It's really, really good to see. I don't see you, Susan Rice, the good Susan Rice, but I hope you'll see it, or at least I'm saying hi to you if you come back and watch it. God bless you all. We'll see you soon.
Rise untamed. In the heart of the fight where the wild ones roam, Joe Oltmann's calling, bringing truth back home. From conservative daily to this untamed fire, we shatter the silence, lifting spirits higher. No chains can hold us, no lies can prevail. Authentic and fearless on this rugged trail. Patriots gather under stars and stripes. Untamed nation, igniting the night. Untamed nation, let the truth roll out in this land of the free. Standing proud from sea to shining sea, we won't back down. Catch the fire, wear the crown. Untamed nation, it's our battle song, motivating hearts where the brave belong. Yeah, untamed and wild, forever strong. Play it again all night long. Break the mold, chase the real. No more games, time to heal. Joe's voice leads the untamed crew. Truth matters through and through. Untamed nation, let the truth roll out in this land of the free. Standing proud from sea to shining sea, we won't back down. Catch the fire, wear the crown. Untamed nation, it's our